and Riccardo Patrese has reduced the gap to 20 seconds. But I'm not going to get excited about it yet, because to me this just says that Senna, knowing exactly what his speed is in relation to Riccardo Patrese and his lap times are in relation to those of Riccardo, is just making sure that he's going to finish the Brazilian Grand Prix this time. Oh, that is Bertrand Gachot in the closing stages of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Just as in Phoenix, Gachot is retiring from 7th place. And poor Eddie Jordan, who was in Japan just before the Brazilian Grand Prix to try and drum up more sponsorship for his team, will be bitterly disappointed with every justification. I'm very, very sorry, because this is the best turned out new Grand Prix team we've seen for a long time, and it's only 14 seconds now between Riccardo Patrese and Senna. Well, I say again, Senna is a supreme tactician. This is his 112th Grand Prix, of which he has won 27, to give him 405 points in the World Championship so far. But he certainly is cutting things pretty fine if he goes on for the rest of the race as he is now. He's tiptoeing his way round this bend. It looks a lot slower when you're looking at your television monitor through the camera on his car than it does if you're sitting in the cockpit. I'm quite sure of that. But he's on his 67th lap now, with Riccardo Patrese catching him very noticeably.
Yes, I rather got the impression that Senna was going even more slowly than ordinary circumspection would take one. Maybe, I don't know, we'll watch carefully, but I thought he may have a little bit of a problem. He was certainly taking the corners very slowly indeed. Yes, he does sound a bit peculiar. The car's not sounding fully healthy. He's certainly not using all the engine revs, and the gap down to 9.6, and it looks as if Senna is in a bit of trouble.
My goodness, is Senna going to be cheated of victory in the Brazilian Grand Prix for the 8th time by Riccardo Patrese, who has reduced that lead from 40 seconds to 9.6 seconds with 3 laps to go at the end of the one that they are on now. The Honda V12 engine won its first race. That was a terrific achievement. It looked as though he was going to win its second, but soon I think we're going to see Riccardo Patrese in the same shot as Ayrton Senna, who you can see visually is going slower. Absolutely no doubt about that at all. 9.6 seconds was the gap, and we'll see what it is at the end of this lap. If we don't see, that's not Riccardo Patrese there, but we soon will see the Williams, and Senna is coming through to complete now his 68th lap.
No, well, I think Senna may have a serious gearbox problem and not be able to get the low gears. He seemed to be going through the left-hander onto the straight in a much higher gear than he would normally do, and with no acceleration. So maybe he's lost the low gears, and that is Patrese into sight, and he isn't that far away. And the gap is down to 5.4, and I'm sure it's the low gears, second and maybe third, that Senna has lost. I certainly get the impression, and that would be McLaren's bugbear of the last 18 months or so, is their gearbox. And I don't think Senna can get round these slow hairpins properly, because he's having to take them in maybe 4th gear.
Lap 69, and Patrese surges past Mika Hakkinen. 5.4 seconds was the gap as they went into their 69th lap in this 71-lap race. Ayrton Senna is in danger of losing the Brazilian Grand Prix for the 8th time in his career. The race he wanted to win more than all others. And the amazing Riccardo Patrese, the man who's driven in more Grand Prix than anyone else, this is his 210th, of which he has won 3, is seeing the possibility and hearing over his headphones the possibility of making this his 4th and denying Ayrton Senna that victory. Well, 5.4 seconds was the gap. I said we were going to see them both in the same shot. There is Senna, there is Patrese. And they're coming through to complete the lap. That is the end of lap 69. This is the last lap but one. 4.1 seconds, but Senna can do it.
And that oil flag hung out then makes them think it's raining again. And if we've got a little bit of rain coming down to just to add to it. But, no, and Senna, yes, that you see, he's definitely got a gearbox problem. He can't get the lower gears. Patrese reeling him in all the time.
And just imagine the tension in Ayrton Senna's head, in his cockpit. This is it. He's on the last lap of one of the Brazilian Grand Prix. The Brazilian hero, Ayrton Senna, has got Riccardo Patrese bearing down on his McLaren Honda, gaining all the time. The last lap coming up, you can see Senna is going slower. I hope we're soon going to get an exterior shot, because while it's nice to know what Senna is seeing, I would rather be seeing Senna and Patrese together. And you can hear that Senna has really got a problem. Here is engine flatting. It's not running clear. It's not running cleanly. Now this is the start of the last lap. Ayrton Senna gets the 1 lap to go signal. The crowd is, of course, absolutely beside itself with worry and excitement, and the gap is down to 3.6 seconds. I don't see, frankly, how Riccardo Patrese, it's pouring with rain now. I look through and I see Senna waving. Look at him, he's saying, stop the race. But it's too late, Ayrton, you're on the last lap. You can lose this race.
Yes, that was a replay of Senna going past the start-finish line to start that last lap. Now we're back in the car in the infield. We need to look in his mirror to see if we can see Patrese coming back. Unfortunately, all we can see is Ayrton's helmet in that. And I think the rain may have freaked Patrese out. In fact, Patrese, whoops, there he was. I couldn't see him in the background, but he hasn't gained at all. And Senna tiptoeing, stuck in a high gear, I think. But the rain is coming down so hard, and that has really worked against Riccardo Patrese. And it does also mean if the race is stopped, it's stopped 1 lap retrospectively, and so Senna would already have won if it's stopped because of rain, because it's when the lead across the line the previous time. And here comes Ayrton Senna for a fine win.
Yes, Ayrton Senna achieves his ambition to win the Brazilian Grand Prix, but another lap or two and I think he would not have done so. But ifs don't matter. Senna has won. Vencedor, winner, Ayrton Senna in Brazil for on his 8th effort. And you can... I'm wondering there if those screams of excitement we were hearing for a moment were Ayrton Senna, because he must be absolutely overjoyed. This is what he's been working for all his career, and he's now achieved it. Number 1, Ayrton Senna has won in Brazil, but a very, very lucky man. Never mind. The object of the exercise is to get the car home. If it completely disintegrates after crossing the line first, it doesn't matter. But Senna has won by 2.9 seconds the Brazilian Grand Prix of 1991, with Riccardo Patrese a superb second. The second McLaren, that of Gerhard Berger, finishes in 3rd position.
Yes, it's a great day for me. I think comparing to this day only 88 in Japan when I won my first championship. I've been very near to win the Brazilian Grand Prix many other occasions. We've been always very competitive, but for different reasons we were never able to do it. And today is a memorable day in my career, in my life, and it's a super day. I'm over the moon.
Wasn't an easy race by the sound of it, or by the look of you when you finished the race? It didn't look that easy.
Well, I remember 84, my second race in Formula 1 with the Toleman in South Africa. When I finished in 6th place, I had muscle spasm all over the body, and it was the biggest pain I ever had in my life. Today I had something similar, but only my shoulders and neck, and so it was a tremendous pain by the last few laps, but the desire to win was so big that I kept going, and it was great.
Probably the greatest of Senna's 28 victories to that stage of his